Narrated Abu Masud, the Prophet said, if a man spends on his family with the intention of having a reward from Allah sincerely for Allah's sake, then it is a kind of almsgiving in reward for him. Narrated Abdullah bin Masud, I asked Allah's Messenger, O Allah's Messenger, what is the best deed? He replied, to offer the prayers at their early stated fixed times. I asked, what is next in goodness? He replied, to be good and dutiful to your parents. I further asked, what is next in goodness? He replied, to participate in jihad in Allah's cause. I did not ask Allah's Messenger anymore, and if I had asked him more, he would have told me more. Narrated Ibn Abbas, Allah's Messenger said, there is no hijrah migration from Mecca to Medina after the conquest of Mecca, but jihad and good intention remain. And if you are called by the Muslim ruler for fighting, go forth immediately. Narrated Bibi Aisha, that she said, O Allah's Messenger, we consider jihad as the best deed. Should we not fight in Allah's cause? He said, the best jihad for women is Hajj Mabrur Hajj, which is done according to the Prophet's tradition and is accepted by Allah. Narrated Abu Huraira, a man came to Allah's Messenger and said, instruct me as to such a deed as equals jihad in reward. He replied, I do not find such a deed. Then he added, can you, while the Muslim fighter is in the battlefield, enter your mosque to perform prayers without cease and fast and never break your fast? The man said, but who can do that? Abu Huraira added, the Mujahid Muslim fighter is rewarded even for the footsteps of his horse while it wanders about for grazing tied in a long rope. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, somebody asked, O Allah's Messenger, who is the best among the people? Allah's Messenger replied, a believer who strives his utmost in Allah's cause with his life and property. They asked, who is next? He replied, a believer who stays in one of the mountain paths worshipping Allah and leaving the people secure from his mischief. Narrated Abu Huraira, I heard Allah's Messenger saying, the example of a mujahid in Allah's cause, and Allah knows better who really strives in his cause, is like a person who fasts and prays continuously. Allah guarantees that he will admit the mujahid in his cause into paradise if he is killed, otherwise he will return him to his home safely with rewards and war booty. Narrated Anas bin Malik, Allah's Messenger used to visit Haram bint Milhan, who would offer him meals. Haram was the wife of Ubadah bin as-Samit. Allah's Messenger once visited her and she provided him with food and started looking for lice in his head. Then Allah's Messenger slept and afterwards woke up smiling. Haram asked, what causes you to smile, O Allah's Messenger? He said, some of my followers who in a dream were presented before me as fighters in Allah's cause on board a ship amidst this sea caused me to smile. They were as kings on the thrones or like kings on the thrones. Ishaq, a sub-narrator, is not sure as to which expression the Prophet used. Haram said, O Allah's Messenger, invoke Allah that he makes me one of them. Allah's Messenger invoked Allah for her and slept again, and woke up smiling. Once again, Haram asked, what makes you smile, O Allah's Messenger? He replied, some of my followers were presented to me as fighters in Allah's cause, repeating the same dream. Haram said, O Allah's Messenger, invoke Allah that he makes me one of them. He said, you are amongst the first ones. It happened that she sailed on the sea during the caliphate of Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan, and after she disembarked, she fell down from her riding animal and died. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, whoever believes in Allah and his apostle, offer prayer perfectly and fasts the month of Ramadan, will rightfully be granted paradise by Allah, no matter whether he fights in Allah's cause or remains in the land where he is born. The people said, O Allah's Messenger, shall we acquaint the people with these good news? He said, paradise has 100 grades which Allah has reserved for the mujahideen who fight in his cause, and the distance between each of two grades is like the distance between the heaven and the earth. So, when you ask Allah for something, ask for al-Firdaus, which is the best and highest part of paradise. The sub-narrator added, I think the Prophet also said, above it al-Firdaus is the throne of beneficent Allah, and from it originate the rivers of paradise. Narrated Samura, the Prophet said, last night 2 men came to me in a dream and made me ascend a tree and then admitted me into a better and superior house, better of which I have never seen. One of them said, this house is the house of martyrs. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet said, a single endeavor of fighting in Allah's cause in the forenoon or in the afternoon is better than the world and whatever is in it. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, "A place in paradise as small as a bough is better than all that on which the sun rises and sets all the world." He also said, "A single endeavor in Allah's cause in the afternoon or in the forenoon is better than all that on which the sun rises and sets." Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet said, "Nobody who dies and finds good from Allah in the hereafter would wish to come back to this world even if he were given the whole world and whatever is in it, except the martyr who, on seeing the superiority of martyrdom, would like to come back to the world and get killed again in Allah's cause." Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, "By him in whose hands my life is, were it not for some men amongst the believers who dislike to be left behind me and whom I cannot provide with means of conveyance, I would certainly never remain behind any Syria army unit setting out in Allah's cause. By him in whose hands my life is, I would love to be martyred in Allah's cause and then get resurrected and then get martyred and then get resurrected again and then get martyred and then get resurrected again and then get martyred." Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet delivered a sermon and said, "Zayd took the flag and was martyred, and then Ja'far took the flag and was martyred, and then Abdullah bin Rawaha took the flag and was martyred too, and then Khalid bin al-Walid took the flag though he was not appointed as a commander and Allah made him victorious." The Prophet further added, "It would not please us to have them with us." Ayub, a sub-narrator, added, or the Prophet, shedding tears, said, "It would not please them to be with us." Narrated Jundab bin Sufyan, in one of the holy battles a finger of Allah's messenger got wounded and bled. He said, "You are just a finger that bled, and what you got is in Allah's cause." Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's messenger said, "By him in whose hands my soul is, whoever is wounded in Allah's cause, and Allah knows well who gets wounded in his cause, will come on the day of resurrection with his wound having the color of blood but the scent of musk." Narrated Anas, my uncle Anas bin Nadir was absent from the battle of Badr. He said, "O Allah's messenger, I was absent from the first battle you fought against the pagans. By Allah, if Allah gives me a chance to fight the pagans, no doubt, Allah will see how bravely I will fight." On the day of Uhud, when the Muslims turned their backs and fled, he said, "O Allah, I apologize to you for what these his companions have done, and I denounce what these the pagans have done." Then he advanced, and Sa'di bin Mu'ad met him. He said, "O Sa'di bin Mu'ad, by the Lord of Nadir paradise, I am smelling its aroma coming from before the mountain of Uhud." Later on, Sa'di said, "O Allah's apostle, I cannot achieve or do what Anas bin Nadir did. We found more than 80 wounds by swords and arrows on his body. We found him dead, and his body was mutilated so badly that none except his sister could recognize him by his fingers. We used to think that the following verse was revealed concerning him and other men of his sort. Among the believers are men who have been true to their covenant with Allah. His sister Rubaiyah broke a front tooth of a woman, and Allah's messenger ordered for retaliation." On that, Anas bin Nadir said, "O Allah's messenger, by him who has sent you with the truth, my sister's tooth shall not be broken." Then the opponents of Anas's sister accepted the compensation and gave up the claim of retaliation. So Allah's messenger said, "There are some people amongst Allah's slaves whose oaths are fulfilled by Allah when they take them.